Hello students, in this session you will learn how to write commands using structured query language SQL. In the previous session you learnt about the basic Rdbms concepts, that is the definition of database, table, primary key, foreign key and all that. So let us learn how to write commands to create all those structures. First, what is SQL? SQL is a language which is used to access and manipulate data in a database. SQL is not case sensitive, which means you can write the commands in uppercase or lowercase or the combination of both. And every SQL command ends with a semicolon. The basic data types that are used in MySQL are char, varchar, int, float, date. There are a lot of other data types also, but these five are the most important commonly used data types. First, we have char and varchar, which are used to store strings. What is a string? It can be a combo of alphabets, numbers, special characters, whatever. Say for example, you want to store name, address and all that, you can use char or varchar data type. The difference between char and varchar is that character data type, for example, when you specify a name as character of size 20, and when you store a name of just 5 characters, the remaining 50 spaces is not left out, is not left it is reserved for that. But in varchar, even if you specify a length of 20, in case you are using only 5 letters to store, the remaining 15 is freed so that it can be used by the system for some other purpose. So that is what I've mentioned here, specifies the character type of length 0 to 255. So you can store a field of size 255 if it is of character data type. Character is of fixed length. So when you are asked to write what is the difference between char and varchar data type, this is the first important point which you should write. Char is of fixed length. Varchar is a variable length data type. This is the main point that you have to write. Varchar specify a character type of length 0 to 65,535. So character is fixed length variable, varchar is variable length data type. Int, as you all know, can store numbers which does not have a decimal place. And there are different types of ints like tiny int, small int, big int, large int and all that. But we will simply use int. This is more than enough for our work. And for float data type, we can store numbers with decimal points. And if you wish to store date, for example, date of joining, date of birth, those fields require this data type. And you have to remember one thing, the format for storing date is year, YYYY hyphen MM hyphen DD. So year should contain 4 digits, 2 digits for month, 2 digits for date, separated by a hyphen. Now, how to create a database? So first, when you have installed MySQL and start working, first of all, you should have a database ready to work with. So the first command to create a database is create space database space the name of the database. Once the database is created, you have to start using the database because there will be a lot of other databases inside your system. So which database you wish to use, you have to type use and the database name. In use command, no need to specify the word database. And to delete an existing database, you will use drop database name. And if you wish to see what are all the databases available in the system, you have to type show databases. Let me show you how all these work. This is the command, create database Mysql. After typing the command, put a semicolon and press Ctrl Enter, or you can press this button to execute. Now, how do you know if the command works well without any errors? Look at the action here, 1 rows affected. When 1 rows or 0 rows affected, which means the command is successful. After creating the database, you should use the database. So use Mysql. Here in this command, you will not use the keyword database. Control Enter. 0 rows affected, which means I've started using Mysql. Now inside Mysql database, I'm going to create a table. Now before that, if you wish to see the list of databases that exist in my computer, you give the command show databases. Show databases. Press Ctrl Enter. You can look at the list of databases that exist in my computer. In case you wish to delete any database, say I don't want this database, then you have to use the word drop database Mysql and press enter. Now I have dropped, which means the database is now erased from my system. Okay, so to create database name. To drop it, drop database name. If you want to use it, use Mysql. Now if I give use Mysql, it will no more be used because it says unknown database. Why? I dropped the database. Now I'll create it again. Create database Mysql and press enter. The database is now created. Use Mysql and I've started using the database. Now let's move on to the next command. Before moving on to create a table, you should understand what are the constraints. The constraints help us to create a table to validate data, proper entry of data. So let us see what are the important constraints. The ones which are covered in our syllabus is the primary key, not null, unique. So in our syllabus we have 3 constraints. There are other constraints called foreign key, default and check. We will learn these 3 also. Now what is a primary key? A primary key is a field which allows only unique values and you cannot leave a primary key null. Then not null is a field which may not be a primary key but you will not allow null values. What do you mean by that? For example, you have a student name as a column. You will never allow a null value in student name column. All the students should have a name which should be entered in the database. So you will not allow it to be null. In that case, use not null constraint. Then what is unique? Unique is a constraint which will restrict the user not to allow duplicate values. Okay, not to type duplicate values. In what case you will use unique constraint? For example, you accept phone numbers of parents. In case you don't want to have duplicate records, in that case you will give phone number as unique. Or in case you are getting the Aadhaar number of students, Aadhaar number should be unique. It cannot repeat. So it cannot have any duplicate values. So you can give unique in that. Okay. But the thing is, in case you don't know the number, you can leave it null. When you set something as unique, then that field can contain null value. Now let us see how to create a table using these 3 constraints. Also, I will tell you what is the use of these 3 fields. Foreign key, as I said, it refers to the primary key of another table. For example, if you have a department ID, department table, department ID, name, HOD and all that will be there in the department table. And in student table, every student will belong to one department. So, department ID will be the primary key in department table. The same department ID will be the foreign key in the other tables. Wherever it is used, it is called as foreign key. But in the original table, it is called as primary key. So, if you want to create a table with the foreign key value, you have to mention that as foreign key. What is a default value? Suppose you are adding some employee details, history of employees, personal details of employees, and you have to set some default value. For example, all the employees who join the organization, say it is a sales company. So everybody, most of them will be salespersons, sales executives. So the designation will be sales executive, which will be the default value. 1 or 2 managers will be added. So if you don't give any value, the default value of sales executive will be automatically filled. That's why you need a default value. In case you want, you can specify. All the constraints are not compulsory. Whenever you create a table, you can add a constraint if you want. Then check. is a value which is used to validate numbers or data or string or whatever. For example, if you type age of a student, the age should always be less than 25 or the age should be above 18. If you have any specific condition, you can give check constraint. Now I'll show you the syntax of creating the table along with all these constraints. First we'll learn to create a simple table without constraint and a table with constraints. See, what is the syntax of create table? Create table, table name. Then give an open bracket, specify the attribute, that is a column 1, what data type. If at all any constraint is there, give it, otherwise just give a comma. Column 2, data type constraint. Column 3, data type constraint. Goes on like this. I'll show you how to do it now. Now let us learn how to create a table of this structure. What are the columns in the table? Employee number, name, phone number, gender, basic pay or pay, department ID, city. So if you look at this column, it is automatically understood this is employee table. So employee number is the primary key. Department ID is the foreign key because department ID is the primary key in the department table. This is some other table, so it is called as foreign key. And data types are mentioned here. Now let us see how to create a table of this structure. This is the syntax to create a table. Create table employee. Emp number is the field name, int is the data type, comma, emp name varchar of 25, phone number character of 10, gender character of 6, pay int, department ID int, city character of 15. So I'll show you how to create a table. Create table employee, open bracket, employee number which is of integer data type. I'm not going to give any constraint. Just press a space, emp name, character of 25, then basic pay, integer, department ID, integer, then phone number, varchar of 12 or 10 or whatever. So after creating all this, close the bracket, put a semicolon and press enter. The table is created. See, you get the output 0 rows affected, which means the table is created. Now I have not given any constraint. I have simply created an easy table without any constraint. Now let us see how to create the same kind of table with constraints. This is very simple. See, when you give the field name, along with that, you just have to add the constraint at the end. Say for example, emp number is primary key. How to set a primary key constraint? After the data type, leave a space and type primary space key. That's all. Simple. The primary key is created. Then employee name cannot be a null value. So I'm going to give a constraint not null. Right? Then basic pay should also be not null. So I will give not null. And suppose I want the basic pay to be above 25,000, then you can give check constraint. Check. What are you going to check? Basic is greater than 25,000. This is the check constraint. This is how you will use check constraint. You can give more than one constraints for the same field. Okay. Then department ID is a foreign key. How will you give a foreign key? Department ID space int references. This is the keyword which you have to use for foreign key. References. This department ID refers to which table? Department tables, department ID. This is what you have to give. Okay. And phone number I think phone number should be unique, so I am adding the unique data type for phone number. So this is all about creating a table with constraints. So what are the constraints that we have used? Primary key, not null, check foreign key, then unique data type. Now after doing all this, press Ctrl Enter or execute it. Oh, it says table. Oh, I should give a new name, employee new. I'll create a table called employee new because employee already exists. Let us create the table employee new. Yes, the table is now created. So this is how you create a table with constraints. Without constraints, create table, table name, field name, data type, comma, field name, data type, comma. In case you have constraints, field name, data type, constraint, field name, data type, constraint. After that, press Ctrl Enter, the table will get created. So this is the syntax to create a table without constraints. Here is the syntax to create with constraints. Now, if you wish to check if the table has correctly been created, what is the description of the structure, how is your table created, then you can use the keyword DESC, describe the table. You can use the full form or the short form to describe the structure of a table. So let me show you. DESC employee new. Put a semicolon. So this will show the structure of the table which you have created. So there are 5 fields, that its data type, and it says if it accepts null value or not, primary key, unique, all that is shown, right? So this is how you see the description of a table. Suppose you don't want a table, you want to delete a table, then you have to give the command drop table, drop table employee, and press enter. The table will be dropped, that is, it will be deleted from the system. Now the table is created. In case you wish to make any change in the table, to edit or modify the table, you should use the alter command, right? To create a table, give create table, table name. To describe a table, DESC, table name. To drop a table, drop table, table name. If you want to make any change in the structure, you should give alter, alter table, table name. Now along with alter, you have 4 important commands. What are the 4 important commands? Alter with add. How do you add something to an existing table? In case you wish to add a new field, you forgot to add a field. Then in case you want to add, you will give alter table with add command. Or if there is a field which you want to make as a primary key which you forgot to do while creation, then you can add a primary key. If you want to change the data type or size of the field, you should use the modify keyword. If you want to change the column name, that is the heading of the column, then you have to use alter command with change keyword. Modify is used to change the data type or size. Change is used to change the column heading. Then if you want to delete a column, if you say for example you don't want phone number column, you want to delete it, then you have to use alter table with drop command. Now let us see an example of all these 4, right? So say I have a table called employee new. There are 5 fields. I want to add one more field. So to do that, alter table employee new. I'm going to alter the table employee new. What am I going to do? I'm going to add a field. Add designation. Add designation which is of data type char, size 10, put a semicolon and press enter. Now this field will be added. Let us check if it is now added. I am describing the employee structure. See, a field called designation is now added. So to add a table, alter table, table name, add the field name with the new data type. Suppose there is a table and you want to make it as make some field as a primary key. Here I already have a primary key, so I will create a new table and show you. Create table trial employee number int employee name character of 20. So the table I will create first. Now I'm going to add a primary key. How to add a primary key? Alter table trial. So which field am I going to make as the primary key? This one, emp number, I'm going to make as a primary key. So alter table trial, add primary key. Which field am I going to make as the primary key? Give it in a bracket. Emp number. And put a semicolon. See, emp number, I created a table called trial. I have two fields, emp number and emp name. I want to do this emp number as a primary key. So I give alter table, table name, add primary key and the name here. So this is how you add a field or you add a primary key. Suppose you want to change something, that is you want to change the data type. Say I don't want char, I want varchar. So how to change this to varchar? Alter table trial. How to change the data type? Use the keyword modify. Alter table trial, modify emp name. What am I going to modify emp name as? Varchar of 10 or varchar of 20 also. The size, data type, anything you can change. Press enter. Now click on describe. Type describe trial. Let us check if the data type is changed. So now you can understand emp number is of data type varchar 20 because I now changed to 20. Next, how to change the heading of a field? Emp name. I don't want emp name, I want e name instead, or employee name. I want a proper name. Then in that case, alter table trial, change. What are you going to change? The heading emp name, I'm going to change it as employee name. Employee name space the data type varchar of 20. You should also mention the data type. Press enter. Now let us check the description. See, previously it was emp number and emp name. Now it is emp number and employee name. Okay, so we have used 3 keywords with alter table. What is the purpose of alter table? Alter table is used to change the table structure. What are the 3 ways in which you can change? Either you can add a field or primary key. You can modify the data type or size. You can change the column heading. You can delete a field. How to delete a field? I will first add a field. Alter table trial, add designation character of 10. So I'm first adding a field. Let us check what is there in trial. Describe trial. So it has 3 fields: emp number, employee name, designation. Now I'm going to remove the column designation. How to remove? Alter table trial, drop column desig and press enter. The column will be dropped. Now let us check the description. So emp number, employee name. Now designation is no more existing because I have deleted it. So drop column command along with alter will remove a column. So this is the alter table keyword. Next, if you want to delete a primary key, that is not the field, but the primary key constraint should be deleted. That is, I've created a table called trial and the primary key is emp number. But I don't want that emp number to be the primary key. In that case, alter table trial drop primary key, which means the primary key constraint will be dropped but emp number will exist. See, I give the description now. See, emp number is there, employee name is there, but emp number is no more a primary key. It is a normal field. So you have two commands in the syllabus. One is to add a primary key, one is to drop a primary key. So these two are very important for the exam. Okay, how to add a primary key? Alter table name, add primary key, within bracket mention the field name. How to drop primary key? Alter table name, drop primary key. You need not mention the column heading and all. The system will automatically delete whatever is the primary key mentioned in trial table. In this session, we learnt 3 important commands. They are called as DDL commands. What is DDL? Data Definition Language. The use of DDL is to design the structure of a table or a relation, to change the structure of a created relation, and to remove a table or a relation. What are the 3 commands that we learnt? Create, alter, drop. So create, alter, drop are called as DDL commands. Hope you understood the session. Let's meet with DML commands in the next video. Thank you.